Good morning. Well, as I was traveling over the past couple weeks, I was thinking about a problem that I have at the farm, and that is the road frontage. It's about a quarter-mile long, about 10 feet deep, and you may have seen me in previous videos using my newer weed whacker to cut the grass in front of the road. Now, this is fine, but it's definitely not an effective way to cut that much grass. So while I was traveling, I searched Facebook Marketplace, and I found a nice Troy-Bilt riding mower. This is the Troy-Bilt Bronco. It's about a 10-year-old lawnmower, but the person who owned it was a mechanic. He serviced it frequently. He still has records of all the new parts he put in and when he did it, in addition to the original operator's manual. It was a decent-looking lawnmower, a few spots of rust, but overall, it worked, and that was the important thing. Much like used cars and everything else nowadays, finding a reasonably priced mower is next to impossible. So I purchased it, I brought it to my house, cleaned it off, made sure everything worked. I cut the front lawn with it, everything was good, so I brought it up to the farm. It's always an odd feeling pulling things on and off a trailer for the first time. So right here I'm just trying to make sure that the wheels stay on the tracks and that the lawnmower doesn't go flying off of the trailer. One problem with these conventional riding mowers is that the turning radius just isn't that great. I haven't had a riding mower in probably 10 or 15 years. I did have two of them. They were larger than this one, and they had the same problems. But I'll tell you, riding this mower on this road frontage is a whole lot easier than using the weed whacker. The only downside is because of that turning radius, I find that I'm having to go out into the road to turn around, which could potentially be dangerous. There is some traffic on this road. And I do need to kind of get a pattern going with how to mow this so that I don't blow all sorts of leaves and grass and stuff into the road. Now, watching somebody mow their road frontage is probably not the most exciting thing that you could find on YouTube. However, for me, this is pretty exciting. As I said, for the past couple months, while I've been here and not on travel, I've been taking care of this road frontage with a weed whacker. So this is a huge step forward. I do realize that I have to buy some pretty substantial equipment for this farm. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But for now, this is probably one of the first big equipment purchases that I've bought for the farm, and it sure has come in handy so far. Eventually, my goal for this road frontage is to cut back some of these scrap trees that are hanging out here. They're not any kind of beneficial tree, so I'm going to cut most of them down. The other thing is, this road frontage isn't perfectly flat. It kind of dips down toward the tree line, and then it goes up a couple feet into the field. So it's been cut down probably by the town over the years. What I'd like to do is dump a couple loads of dirt into this front area, level it all out with the road, make a nice even area, plant some grass, and have some property here out in the front by the road that has a bit of curb appeal. Although, there's no curb. The length of my road frontage here is roughly a quarter mile, so I did have to break this up into a few different zones to more effectively mow it. Certain areas, such as in front of the barn, are pretty flat. Other areas, such as this further down area, they slope down into the field. There's probably a 3-foot drop-off by the tree line there. Mowing down into the area between these buildings and actually out into the field area of the property is a bit challenging. They did drive tractors up and down through this path, so there are deep ruts. I had to make sure not to drop the riding lawnmower into any of those ruts. bigger problem is down here by the garage and in this backyard between the garage and the barns. Some of this grass, it's 2 to 3 feet tall, and this little riding mower is probably not the best tool for cutting down grass that's that high. That's why I didn't do very much. I just kind of did a 10 foot by 10 foot area in front of the garage just so that I could hop off the mower, clean it off a little bit, and back it into the garage. But this is where we have to start talking about heavier equipment. There's going to have to be some purchases made in the coming months to deal with this level of growth. I really do need to scrape down most of this ground back here. Most of it's weeds. There's a lot of shrubs and low-lying trees, and of course the endless acres of pricker vines. There's really no easy way to do it. I'm gonna have to get some big equipment. For the couple $100s that I paid for this mower, it really is a good little mower. It handled everything. It went over branches, sticks, it handled some of this really thick grass, and the end result, it looks halfway decent. So I think it was a good purchase. As you can see though, this property has turned into a jungle, and it gives me a headache thinking about how I'm going to clear it. Aside from doing some light mowing today, I had another task. I had to put up some no trespassing signs. The neighbor across the street informs me every now and then that people wander through the property. There are trails on the property. It was vacant for about 20 years, so it stands to reason that people around the area have used it recreationally. While the previous owner may have been fine with that, I don't really like the idea of people wandering around on this property. The buildings aren't in fantastic shape. As you've seen, the foundations are in ruin in some cases in front of the barn. The foundation has completely caved in, and you could pretty easily slide under the barn into the basement if you get too close to the barn. So I want to make sure people know to stay away. I have to remember in the coming weeks to get some wood and block off this area. This is the part where you can literally see into the basement of the barn, standing at ground level outside the front of the barn. I really have to fix the foundation eventually. I hadn't planned on weed whacking today, so I didn't bring my good big weed whacker, but I did have my little battery powered weed whacker in the vehicle with me, so I decided to come out here and just tidy up some of the areas that I missed with the riding mower. Although you probably can't tell by watching the video, it is mid-June here in central New York and we are in summer. But I do have a hooded sweatshirt on today because it's 50 degrees. I don't know what's going on with the weather, but over the next couple weeks I am going to have to try and figure out a way to deal with this crazy jungle-like greenery that has appeared all over this property. I have to start identifying some pieces of heavy equipment that could potentially manage and clear some of this stuff. But until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.